Hello and welcome everyone to another trophy guide video in which I'll be showing you how to get the Pizza Party trophy in Civilization 6, which in my opinion is the hardest trophy to get before the Platinum trophy. So for new joiners, what is Pizza Party? Pizza Party requires you to build New York City, so you have to play with America under the leadership of Teddy Roosevelt. Or if you have the Great Negotiator pack added last year, you can try it out with Abraham Lincoln. Or you can just conquer New York City when the AI builds it, assuming you are playing against America. Having New York City, however, is a challenge by itself, which we will discuss later on in this video. But the next step and the other requirement of this trophy is to recruit 3 great people from the Great People tab. In specific, you need Michelangelo, Leonardo and Donatello, and activating their effects in New York City after the Industrial Era, because you need to build the sewers, which is only available when you reach the Industrial Era. So you need to build the sewers in New York City first before activating their effects in order to get the trophy achieved. So let's talk about the basic first, which is building New York City. When you play as America, the first city will always be Washington, so you need to start creating settlers very early in the game to ensure you will get New York City in this playthrough. You will need at least 5 to 7 cities to farm resources in order to get the great people later on. But New York City can be your second city after Washington, or your 10th, depending on the luck. The names of the city are randomly generated, but if you keep building on city, New York City will eventually come up. The second part of the trophy is to get the great people in time before the AI gets them, or before we move on to a new era and miss out on the people from this era. So some context here: an era is an age mechanic where each era offers new technologies and new civics that is available from the technology tree or the civics tree. So as you progress with your researchers, you will move from one era to the next. The great people are also change when you progress to the new era. And the challenge here is to get all 3 people we mentioned from one era, which is the Renaissance era. So you start with the ancient era and the classical era, then the medieval era, and then the Renaissance era. So you still have time to recruit them, but you have to be careful not to research anything from the next era, which is the industrial era, in order to stay in the Renaissance era as much time as possible to recruit our artists and engineer. Since there are 2 artists, Donatello being the first one in the game, since the art itself begins in the Renaissance era, you can get him as quickly as you can. Then you can find Michelangelo next in the pipeline, or the one afterwards. If that is the case, you can get the other artists out of the way so that you can have Michelangelo as the next artist in the Great People section. As for engineers, there are a few engineers that you need to recruit before Leonardo shows up. The best way to get all 3 from my multiple tries is to get the engineers first until you reach the first engineer in the Renaissance era to show up, then leave him be. Then you can get Donatello and have Michelangelo next, and afterwards you can get the other engineers so that Leonardo is the next one. That way, even moving from the industrial era, you can still have Michelangelo and Leonardo in the pipeline waiting for you. No matter how many turns you play, these 2 will remain available for you or the AI to recruit before moving on to the next great people according to the era that you are currently in. I should have mentioned this early on, but great people are recruited with the great people points, which add up each turn. So the theater gives you artist points, while the industrial district gives you engineer points when you research a project. Still, it is hard to gather enough points early on in the game to get all 3, not to mention the other engineers and artists that might be standing in your way. So the best way to get them is via gold or the face points, aka religion points. I chose the face points so that I can focus the gold towards building cities faster and even getting more face points, and before I know it, you will have like 120 points per turn. Now, before I go through the main focus points on how to get these face points and watchouts, let's set up a game so that it can make our journey with fewer challenges and focus more on getting the trophy requirement. I advise creating a game playthrough on Warlord difficulty. We're not trying to win anything here, we just want the Pizza Party, and with the game speed set as standard in a Pangaea map, I hope I'm saying that right, and the map size set as a dual size map. Then you can go to advanced settings. There the city states will be at 3, but you can change the resources to abundant. That way you will ensure you'll have plenty of resources to make trades and even get more gold, and can give bonus points to your building districts. And in worst case scenario, you can just remove them from the map and get production points so that you can speed up a building or a unit creation. In the victory conditions, we can remove the domination victory to prevent the AI from going to war against you, and that way he can be more focused on other victory conditions other than that, and we can be more focused on the pizza party trophy. I recommend that you can remove all victory conditions except the score in order not to worry about what the AI is cooking. Sometimes they defeated me with the religion, sometimes they defeat me with domination. So we need just to focus more on the score so that you can finish the game in one playthrough. And next we need to move on to the other game options, like in the previous tab, you remove the barbarians and the duplicate readers. We don't want any military units in this game or in this trophy playthrough. And yeah, they will denounce you, but who really cares? And lastly, you pick America so that we can move on to the next point and the final part of our guide. When you start the game, you can choose between pottery that will take you to irrigation, animal husbandry, or mining. Choose the one that fits the landscape you started with to make sure your unit creation is faster and avail more production points. Then once you settle in, you can go for astrology to start building the holy site district and start our mission to get the great people in motion. In civics, the first two policies I recommend are the God King, which give you +1 faith and +1 in gold in your main city, which is Washington, and survey, the other policy that doubles your recon unit experience. And also check the great people before you start to make sure that Donatello is here. In my case, the first scientist was from the medieval era, James of St. George, and Donatello was the first artist. Now back to the Civics Tree, we go to the foreign trade as we want to get mysticism to make sure we have oracle in our wonder section, and then pick up drama and poetry to open the theater district in the classical era and unlock the amphitheater, which is needed later on for the art museum. You also need to research theology, which will provide you with the scripture policy that grants you +100% holy site adjacent bonuses, and unlock the temple building, which is all of which are contributing to our phase points. And make sure you manually save every 50 to 60 turns so that if you have any missteps, you can always continue from your last save instead of restarting again. Now moving near the end, it took me around 250 turns because I kept the religion victory open as I mentioned, so I had to fight back against that in order not to lose my progress. Still, with the guide, it should take you around 180 to 250 turns, which depending on how fortunate you were to build New York. I had like 6 cities before I made it to New York, and each city I made full use of it. I built a holy site, an industrial zone, a theater square, a commercial hub even for gold farming, and with the holy site I upgraded it to include a shrine, a temple to boost the phase points further. And you can also upgrade the other districts, but make sure not to rush with these upgrades until you get the great people recruited at least, or in the pipeline in the great people section. Seeing our empire status after I had all great people recruited, you can see in the yield section that we ended up with 114 gold, 127 faith points and 48 art points per turn, which is very good for this trophy requirement. Now here are some insights. While in the Renaissance era, while waiting for the great people to show up, you can get other civics policies such as the political philosophy or the classical era republic to get more policy slots, which will give you more bonuses. You can see also that the temple, shrine or watts are providing a great boost thanks to another policy that I will share with you in a few moments. But before that, let's go through the technology tree. Now as I mentioned, we need to research everything possible before getting to the industrial era, which begins when you research industrial zone, scientific theory, ballistic or military science. And to note on this point, you can see that the celestial navigation, currency, horse riding and iron working will trigger the classical era to begin, while military tactics, apprenticeship and machinery will start the medieval era, and the Renaissance era starts when you complete the mass production or cartography, gunpowder, banking or printing. To summarize our main research in the technology tree for this trophy, you need astrology to unlock the shrine and the holy site districts, you need apprenticeship to build the industrial zone and the workshop, and lastly you need sanitization in the industrial era to unlock the sewers, so that before activating the great people effects, New York will have a workshop for Leonardo, art museums for Donatello and Michelangelo, and the sewers to complete the trophy requirements. Like in the technology tree, you need to keep an eye not to unlock any civics in the industrial era until you get all great people first. So in the ancient era, there is the early empire, which is a very good option as it will unlock colonization and land surveyors policies, which are both great because colonization make you get settlers faster so that you can build more cities until you find New York, and the land surveyors reduce the cost of purchasing tile or land by 20%, which will give you more opportunity to get resources and more gold and have bigger cities. In the classical era, it will start when you research drama and poetry, and the medieval era starts when you research civil service, feudalism, divine rights, or naval tradition. Divine rights in particular will allow you to research the Reformed Church, which will unlock the religious order policy and simultaneum policy. Both are great policies for phase points. Religious orders increases all religious units by 5 religious strengths, and this one was useful for me as I had to fight out the religion victory by the AI as I mentioned and focus on getting the pizza party faster. But simultaneum allowed me to double the faith heal points from the holy site districts, and this one uplifted my faith points from 62.5 to 95.5 per turn, so it's super effective in boosting the phase points. And the last point I wanna watch out for is not to research colonism, civil engineering, nationalism, or opera and palette, because any of these will push you towards the industrial era. So if you still did not get the great people in the great people pipeline, you will miss them for sure and had to replay the latest save that you've made. There are a few more notes here that I want to mention is the government. So for the government, I chose autocracy from the political philosophy, which give you +1 to all yield from the capital. In the classic republic is also a good choice as it gives you 15 bonuses to great people points, but since we are purchasing face and want artists and not profits, I try to focus on the productivity to get things done faster. I chose monocracy from the divine rights for the next government, which give you more policy points to give more bonuses, specifically 2 wild cards, which are also good. And early empire allows you to found a religion, which it doesn't matter which one you pick, but for the perks I chose the work ethics to increase the production, building unit faster, and the church property, which give you plus gold for each city following this religion. With that, I hope this information helps new joiners to get the trophy. Make sure you activate Michelangelo Donatello in New York City in the Theater Tile Art Museum first, and activate afterwards Leonardo in the Industrial Zone with a workshop for the trophy to count. Remember, you need to have the sewers built before activating any of these effects, as this is part of the trophy requirements. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and tell me if you want more civilization guides in the comments below.